what are the key mistakes? And we see this a lot, that people go straight into scale, don't they, Ashley? They go straight into, I've got to put new business in. And now, unless you are a startup with no clients, going straight into scale is the wrong thing. So phase one, we talk about getting to the starting gate, which is all about time to work on the business. It's having time to reflect. So you're absolutely in tune with what you want and need. Then it's about putting the growth plan together. Then it's about setting your KPIs. And then something which you call the rhythm meetings, where you have a standard rhythm of meetings that look at a leadership level, look at an operational level, look at a daily level. What are we going to do? Most of our members that join us do not get that bit right first, do they, Ashley? That's the first, am I right? This is the first bit that we do. Paul, what's it like for you when you don't have that headspace time?
Well, you spend yourself firefighting all the time, and you just sort of on autopilot. You don't really have any time to think about anything.
Yep. And when you're on autopilot, when you don't have time to think about doing anything, your brain reverts to the status quo. It basically says, do what I've always done, which means that if you do what you've always done, the stuff that you do well, you do really well. The stuff that you do badly, you do even more badly, and you compound your problems by not having that thinking time. The next stage is maximizing the 4 ingredients to build a firm foundation, which is cash, time, resource, systems, and process. And then phase 3 is about scale. But all too often, we go straight into scale without putting a firm foundation. Because as the story goes, if you build your house on sand, the wind blows it over. If you build your house on brick, proper foundation, it has when the winds. But this is a big one we see at the moment, isn't it? Massive one. And I think everybody said growing a business is hard work. And when you grow a business, whether you like it or not, you get a boatload of fear and anxiety. Oh, is this key member of staff going to leave? Is that key? Have we upset that key client? Is that, and you and I, Paul, often have conversations where I go, the world's going to fall apart. And you go, Heather, don't be stupid. And you go to me, the world's going to fall apart. I go, yes, it is if you don't do that. So we have this. And it's really important. And one of the big things you need to do if you're growing a firm is put your oxygen mask on first. So what are you doing every single day to maximize your physical health? What are you doing every single day to maximize your mental health? What are you doing every day to switch off from work and do something that brings you joy? You'll see Paul, Ashley, and myself, we're all on standing desks because we know that this is much better for our physical health to do this. Let's go on a poll. How are you sabotaging? Oh, I haven't got that poll in there, so I'm not going to put it in there. But let's move forward. But just put your hand up if you can resonate with not putting your own self-care first. Yeah, Roz, lovely to see you, Roz, by the way. Yeah, there's a lot of us that we don't put our own self-care first. We go straight to our members. And yeah, Leander, we have to get better at it, don't we? Or else we do not have a business. We need to be able to do this ourselves. And, I'm quite happy to say openly and honestly, this is a journey I'm on to put my self-care first. I don't always get it right. And there will be times where you don't get it right. But we also see people lose sight of their why, so they accept the status quo. And when the growth gets difficult, it's really easy to give up. Just put your hand up if at some point in the last 9 months you went, oh, insert swear word of your choice. I'm just going to keep my practice the same size. I'm going to give up with growth. I'm just going to keep my practice the same size. Absolutely, Claire. Leander, yeah, we've all been there. Tony, John, Carrie, we've all said, I don't need this stress of growing. I've done it as well. I was just like, well, what happens now? What happens if I kept the club the same size, and how much easier would our lives be and all of that sort of stuff? I've been there. I've absolutely been there. Answer, Ashley and Val, is we're still growing. So don't worry about it. We're not changing the plan. But this is why knowing your why is so important, because when you know why you're doing it, you can reconnect with your motivation to make stuff happen, particularly in the really difficult periods. Because I went in the particularly difficult periods go, well, what happened if I did do this? What would I be giving up on? And it makes a massive difference to your motivation. And the thing is, if you're going to scale, if you're going to change your status quo, if you're going to do anything, you need time to work on the business. So Paul, how much time do you try and spend each week working on your business?
I try something like half an hour to three-quarters an hour a day.
Yeah, we say in the Accountants Millionaires Club book, try and aim for 8 hours. But if 8 hours is too much right now, put in 1 hour a week. Then in the next week, put in an hour and a half. Then the next week, put in 2 hours. Put this in your diary now, because that way you'll respect it. It will be there. So, Renee's somebody that Ashley and both of I've worked with, and I'll let you just read what she said about structuring her working week. So, question for you, Paul. In your half an hour that you do every day working on your business, what do you do? It's come from Claire.
So basically what I do, Claire, when I'm in the office, I have a red light outside my door. And when I want to meet with myself, I put the red light on and I say to the team, don't interrupt me unless the building is burning down. And what I try and do is clear my desk and just actually have some thoughts about what I'm trying to achieve, what I'm trying to do. Because I think for a lot of us, our best ideas, our best moments are when we're uncluttered. And part of being uncluttered is not having too much rubbish around you. And just think about some of your clients, about how you can help them, what the common threads are. So if one of them's got a cash flow problem, can we relate that to other people? And just actually focus on what you actually want to achieve. Because at the end of the day, we need to help our clients, and we're here to help our clients, because by helping our clients, we help ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely true.
Yeah, Val's right about you are your own biggest client. And I think one of the problems about confidence is that the first sale that we always need to make is to ourselves. If I don't believe I can offer value and do things, how can I persuade you as the client that I can? So I think for me, it's all about mind space, having a positive environment, having things around you that actually put you in that zone, whether it's music, whether it's pictures, whatever it is, to be in that zone. Because I think once you're in that zone, you actually have better thoughts and more focused thoughts, and there'll be a better outcome.
And these are some of the 9 levers that people neglect to pull to grow faster. We often see, well, I don't do any marketing. It all comes to me through word of mouth. And it's almost a little bit like a badge of honor. And there is no prize for being the world's best kept secret. Absolutely no prize. One of the big things is we talk about priming the pump. This is what are you doing every single day to build your profile? And having processes to generate new business which just work, rather than this lack of daily marketing activity. And this is the biggest thing I see, is that people they go quiet for 3 months over busy season. The next one we see is, well, I don't have a niche, and they try and be all things to all people. We've started a new program with members literally this week on a new business accelerator. And about a third of the 12 people on the course said, I'll take any client. And if you're saying I'm going to take any client, then you are going to be taking a lot of crap in. You've got to be taking the people you want. Paul, roughly how many leads do you get in each month, and how many do you keep, and how many do you give away?
Pre-lockdown, we're on to 10 to 15 leads a month. We probably keep 2 of them.
Yeah. And interesting, I was speaking with one of my members yesterday, and he goes, yeah, we're turning work away. And when you're in that position where you can turn work away, you can actually choose the clients you want. And it makes a big, big difference, because you get clients that value you, which makes it much, much easier. The next thing is we see people not managing their pipeline of new business. They don't follow up, do they, Ashley? They have a conversation and then it goes quiet. What are you actually doing? How are you doing it type stuff? But we also see that people are not making it easy to get in touch with you when they're ready. Maybe you're not doing regular emails. Maybe you're not doing regular kind of virtual events these days. Are you on social media regularly? Have you got regular contact with introducers? Is there an easy way to book into your calendar, an Acuity scheduling Calendarly link? These make a massive difference. How easy is it for clients to get in touch with you? Do you have your phone number, your email address on every single page of your website? If not, it's time to get your website redesigned. How do you tell clients they don't fit with you? Paul, how do you do that? How do you tell the 18 or so leads that you turn away every month? Sorry, it's not you, it's me.
So what I explain is that I'd love to help you, but our niche specialism is helping businesses who turn over £250,000, and therefore our cost base wouldn't be appropriate for you. So what I suggest is, why don't you speak to my mate? I give him the name, and he'd be able to help you deal with what what you want.
You're just honest right at the start. People price too low. One of the first things that Ashley and Val do with new members into the club is help them sort their pricing out. Now, you might kind of go, well, I can't just put a price increase right now because my clients won't accept it. What we suggest is you do the client portfolio analysis, and then you actually look at who is really unprofitable and you sit down with them, you do a business review, and then you re-quote. Now is probably not the time to do a blanket 10% increase. We see people having websites where it's really difficult to work out, what do I really want? We've got to help prospects self-select. Are you being really evident about who you work with on your website? Now, I'm not talking you have to have a sector expertise, because you don't have to have sector expertise, but you need to, as you just said, you specialize with businesses that are 250K upwards. So it doesn't need to be a sector expertise, but there will be something that you do and you do really well. Are you focusing on that? Have you got packages with pricing on to help people self-select? We see people leaving business on the table in sales conversations because they just go in and say, oh, so you need and I'm exaggerating a lot, but you just need a set of accounts and whatever, instead of going into what they really need. So what's prompted you to move accountant? What motivated you to start your business? What's the reality right now? What are those issues? And the other thing we see is people being too focused on costs. So they allow the service to drop or overtrade, and they don't get resource in fast enough, or they cut corners and bring in cheap members of the team, so the clients get crap service and leave. Is there any of these, Paul, that you might have done at any point in time?
I'll put it this way, I can identify with probably all 9.
And you've still managed to grow. You break 500,000 this year, am I right, Paul?
Fair wind, yes.
Yeah. So you could get a lot of this wrong. It's all about, can you learn from it and move on? But we so often undervalue ourselves and underprice, and this is why our profit margin is often low. And when I say low, if we've got a team of more than just an apprentice, it's often under 30%. And then because our pricing is too low, our profit margin is too low, our cash is low, so we haven't got the money to bring in the new member of staff when we need it, or get the software when we need it. And so we then work long hours with very little momentum to grow. The other thing is we stop learning. It's a big one. And when you grow, you go through stages where your role changes, your identity changes, what you need to do changes. And so if you're not picking up the new skills, if you're not getting yourself so you're at the right point for where your business needs to be, your business will go backwards. Your institutes insist that you do your own CPD. And basically the big learners are the big earners. And Paul, how many business books do you read every week?
I generally have 3 or 4 on the go at any one moment in time.
Yeah, and you have a Blinkist subscription, so you read the executive summaries to see which ones you should go and read. The big learners are the big earners. And I know our members love the book club that the two of you run together for the club, but you never graduate as a business owner. There is always something new to learn. And as soon as you stop learning, you have a choice. You can either sell your firm or watch your firm gradually start to decline. Oh, Mr. Miller, this might be you. So how did you generate those 8 to 10 leads a month through lockdown?
So basically identify what people were wanting. So during lockdown, it was people wanted a sounding board to talk things through. People actually wanted someone to help them with their profitability and their cash flow, and actually focus on marketing to those things that people actually want. So we're not talking about accounts, because anybody can produce a set of accounts, and there's loads of accountants. So you need to identify what makes you different, and what are the pain points for your client.
Absolutely. But the other thing is, we see people making false economies as a big mistake. And the reality is, you've got to learn how to grow your practice. It doesn't come just because you're an accountant. And you've got 2 currencies, your time or your money. And if you choose to learn by DIY, that's great. But it potentially will take you a lot longer. But we also see people trying to resource on the cheap. They delay hiring, they buy an apprentice, or the software licenses, where actually for the firm to operate really efficiently, everybody needs a license, but you scrimp and you only have 2 licenses or whatever. We see that a lot. These are false economies. We also see this one, that people think, oh, I've read the Accountants Millionaires Club, I know what to do, how to grow my business. But actually knowing what to do is very different to actually doing it. You know, we've had some people who've said, well, I don't need to join the club, everything I need is in the AMC book. Interesting, those are the people that often come to us a year later and go, I should have joined back then, I'm sorry. And we go, it's fine, you're with us now, that's great. You know, we often rely on Jason. Yes, if you drop a note to Ashley, he'll send you the recording after the webinar. Of course, we often rely on our own discipline and willpower, and it's just not good enough, particularly when you've got a client saying, I need this now. Interestingly, people rely on their own willpower and self-discipline to drive through the necessary changes required in. Paul, how have you used other people to help you when your willpower was not enough?
I think we all know what we should be doing, but actually we're all a little bit, we almost want a second opinion, a shoulder to cry or rely on to actually help us and say, yes, what you're saying is right. And I think by explaining things to people, it's almost cathartic. It'll actually help you formulate what you actually know is right to do and basically get you on with it. Get on with it.
Yeah. The great thing about the club is, how many people are around you, Paul, helping you with this stuff?
Well, if we include all club members, there's basically 50 plus, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all accountants going in the same direction as you. They might not be wanting to grow £1 million practice, but they're all growing. The big thing is, it's about not asking for help when it gets difficult, and I'm guilty as charged, but also relying on own willpower. You don't have to do this alone.